Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time. And today we are here to celebrate one of our newest books, The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 5, you guys. So some of you who have been following Brave Healer Productions know that this is the 5th book in a series. And that has been part of an incredible journey that started on March 20th of 2020. Everyone's going to have their before and after story, right? So when I woke up dreaming about doing a book collaboration with my healer friends, I literally got up out of bed that morning, walked to the kitchen, opened up my laptop and typed a note in a Facebook group that I run for a class. And I said, the world needs to understand how to heal at home right now. Who wants to write a chapter for this book? And 48 hours later, I had 24 yeses. 5 weeks after that, the first book was born onto Amazon. I brought show and tell today for you guys. Here's book number 1. And that and each of the next 3 Amazon best-selling volumes have been out changing the world over the last year and a half. I am just trying to keep up with all of the awesomeness. And today we're celebrating volume 5. I have some of the wonderful, badass, wise, amazing authors with me today to share with you about their chapters and what they're going to be teaching you in terms of self-healing in this book. So Joy Reeser inspires love, peace, and joy through her presence and offerings, including serving clients as their spiritual mentor, writing books that enliven readers, and appearing on podcasts as an inspired guest. Dr. Justin Klein is the CEO and founder of Got Your Back Total Health and the Got Your Back Foundation, 501c3, bringing total health care to everybody. Karen Deschamps is the owner of Winged Hearts with Karen Deschamps, a collective of different types of yoga and therapeutic touch. And Leora Brunn, transforming human consciousness, turning the spiritual into the practical. Welcome, you guys. What's up? How are you doing?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Awesome.
I've been so looking forward to talking to you all about your chapters. So Joy, we're starting the party with you. Tell me about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Thank you, Laura. Hello, everyone. I wrote chapter 19, A Daily Spiritual Practice, Awaken to Unlimited Joy. It was completely fun to write it, and I hope it speaks to who it will speak to who it speaks to. But this chapter has words about my journey from a sad, sensitive child into a person who can't stop expressing. But all the writing that I did and how a daily spiritual practice has been such a huge part of my journey. I mean, in my journal, a coach started talking to me, the comforter, part of divinity, and just led me forward. I could read one small section from and I used sections of my journals in my chapter. I used poetry I have written in my chapter. So here's a small entry from 2011. Wow, have just read over the reading from yesterday with Sajit. It was wonderful, intriguing, moving, and awesome. I truly have been on a path from having my joy cut off to become a joy in the world. My time is here to bring joy, power, presence, voice, to bring my mission forth.
Thank you, Joy. So I also love using journal entries and poetry. Of course, you and I have a couple things in common there in terms of writing our chapters and writing our books. But I wonder, like, how far back does it go with you in terms of your journals? Was that always a thing? Did you start young?
I have 40 years of journals and I'm 64. So there you go. And I have them all in bins and dated.
Yeah. So when you think about writing for the world to see, it's a very different thing. We can open up our journal and we can write our secrets and we can write whatever the heck we want to write. I've met a couple of different kinds of people. I've met people who are like, oh no, I'm going to burn those pages so nobody ever reads them. And then I have met people who are like, well, I want to share my authentic journey and be kind of transparent about what those things are, right? The more personal, the more universal. How has that been in your journey?
Thank you. I honor the fact that I listened to my intuition, and every time I moved, I felt like getting rid of them. And my intuition was like, keep them. And it gives me goosebumps naming it, because having them has been a real treasure to write chapters for books like that you publish, Laura.
Well, thank you, Joy, and thanks for being brave about that, sharing a little window from that real life, those real life moments. I appreciate you for that. So Justin, let's move to you next. And you and I go way back from physical therapy world, and I would say like a bit more traditional kind of functional medicine world. And I love that you're writing in this book because, I don't know, you can tell us, was this outside of your comfort zone? Tell us about your chapter.
It wasn't outside my comfort zone, but because I do write a lot about what I do. And this chapter is somewhat of a consolidation of efforts to get it all in a few pages, right? But my chapter's chapter 24. It's called Your Move Mentality. And the move mentality, the idea of a move mentality really just came up as a mash of words one day, in the office, in the clinic. I'm working with patients, and I love to teach. I love to share. I love to get people to do things that they will be compliant with. And so they need to love it. They need to appreciate it. They need to understand why they would do it. So the why is a real big question when it comes to getting, as a physical therapist or a chiropractor like myself, to get people to do what you're asking them to do. And so to me, it became an understanding movement and mentality. And for my journey, understanding how movement and your mentality or what's going on in your brain is a parallel to what's going on in your body, and your emotional self and your physical self and your biochemical self, they're all on the same level all the time. And so if you can do something physical to help yourself physically in some way, it can also absolutely help your psychological or emotional self. And so I think of the things as patterns, the things that we teach as patterns, rather than just trying to strengthen a muscle or to stretch something out. And it just all became a concept. And really for us at my clinic, at the Got Your Back Total Health Clinic, and with our participants with the Got Your Back Foundation, we everybody is a part of the community, and everybody's really doing the same thing to an extent, but everybody has their own algorithm through understanding the process of their own move mentality. Everybody's going to meet us where they are. We're going to meet them where they are, and anybody can do it. I've developed an app that's only $3 a month that anybody on any phone can actually take and use. It's called the Move Mentality app. And I am also putting together, we've been doing the Move Mentality podcast, where we talk all about the concepts of mindfulness in total health and wellness, and bringing in other practitioners and doctors and anybody in the world where really they all have an idea of how we can change the world to bring wellness and health and foundations to people. So the Move Mentality is just my simplistic way of teaching people how to start from breathing, following your eyes, crossing midline, concepts that you and I, Laura, learned with Original Strength. And we're trying to really just get everybody to do a little bit of that. And that can go a very long way.
I'm such an anatomy geek, you guys. So, which is one of the reasons I loved reading Justin's chapter and, just getting it at that next level. Love the descriptions of different things. But So a minute ago, you mentioned patterns, and that's
Mm.
one of the things that really turns me on. Talk about patterns a little bit more. Why is it important?
Sure. Thanks for bringing that up. And I love to go into the detail of this because when it comes down to it, our nervous system, our brain is made up of two hemispheres. We've got a thing in the middle called the corpus callosum that connects that. And I'm in a room full of women. You ladies would love to know there is science to back the fact that your corpus callosum is thicker and stronger than men's. So good for you. But we have to work a little harder for it anyway. But the patterns in the nervous system are flexion, extension, right and left, right, top and bottom. We've got these quadrants. If we're lucky enough to have a head and two arms and two legs, we can activate that type of stuff very simply. But it starts with the vestibular system. The vestibular system is those fluids in your ears. We have these gyroscopes, right? And all this stuff is passing through. Every bit of information is passing through that system, being a part of the cranial nerve system and the deeper brain, right? So we need to understand that the deep brain is without language, right? Which is actually one of the reasons why trying to put this on paper and write it in words, right, is actually quite difficult because the movement itself comes from the middle brain, those understandings, those emotions behind it. And so then we put words into it in the outer brain. But there's a little tangent for you. Laura knows I go on tangents. The patterns just simplify things. And so that's really the short answer to the question. And so to simplify the rest of this, monologue here, it's really all about simplification because people are working with different gaits because they have an injury, and then that changes the pattern in the brain. So if we can bring that towards center in some way with the vestibular system and its balance and coordination and everything for our movement systems, it can very much help with everything else.
Thank you. We're gonna need more on that later. Okay.
No problem.
Stay
Thanks.
tuned. Okay. Karen, tell me about your beautiful chapter.
Hello, Laura, and I've just got to tell you, I just love you so much. You really walk the talk, so thank you for the invitation to come today. My chapter is chapter 4, and it's titled Asking for a Friend, and it's how therapeutic touch can help someone heal from sexual assault. So my chapter is about sexual assaults against me and how I use therapeutic touch as one of the tools to help me heal from that. I felt very strongly about writing this because sexual assaults, are the most underreported crimes. And it's just because basically the re-victimization of women after the fact. So there's the assault and then there's the blame and shame that we put on ourselves and how we just can't or think we can't manage the court system. Anyway, as a classroom teacher, I taught grade 5 and 6, and when I read the statistics that said 1 in 5 children, so that's girls and boys, have been sexually assaulted before their 18th birthday. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's like 1/6 of my class of children. And I just thought, how am I going to teach them to learn when, they have stomach aches and headaches and they're psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, maybe physically hurting. And so I'm just so happy to get this chapter off of my chest, go through the healing process during the writing of it in the hopes of perhaps helping a woman or a man heal from sexual assault thereafter.
So thank you. And thank all of you for being brave like that, for stepping up. Some of you wrote for the first time. I call it out loud, for other people to read. Some of you are pros and have been there, done that. But Karen, I appreciate you having the courage to write about the topic. The more awareness, the better. We're going to be talking today a little bit more about awareness in general, which is like my favorite subject ever, because I think that with awareness, then we have choices and we have opportunities. So had you I'm guessing you hadn't written about the topic before, but tell us a little bit more about that process for you.
Yeah, no, I haven't. And I haven't written about it. In fact, I hadn't even really spoken about it until now. And I had several sexual assaults from, a very young child to an 8-year-old to a young teen and then to an adult, as an older woman. And I just found once I put the words down on paper, it was such a relief because I hadn't spoken about it. And it's really interesting. I have 2 daughters. They're both adults. They're well into their 40s. One of them cannot wait to read the chapter. She hasn't read it yet. She can't wait for the book to come out. I said, you have to buy the book. You're not getting it till you buy the book. And the other one just can't. She said, it's just too personal, Mom. I just can't. So I respect both of them for their opinions and their views on that. And I did this for me and anyone it will help, not for them.
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of authors who are sharing their stories, especially in these collections of books that we're putting out, are in the same boat. They have reached a point where they're prioritizing their own healing over worrying about offending or upsetting the people around them. It's one of the things that I hear the most about writing and about publishing, especially. We're not here to hurt anyone. We're not here to trash anyone with our stories, but we are here to heal. And this process is definitely one of those ways. So thank you, Karen.
Yeah, it's just taking Joy's journaling one step further. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. Leora, I'm going to move to you. Tell us about your amazing chapter.
Okay, well, I'm in the category of neophyte. It is chapter 23, Turning Anxiety into Freedom, a Life-Changing Awareness Practice. The chapter is really based on having curiosity be the flip side of anxiety. That it really is that from time to time in life, whether people have anxiety as an issue, like a psychological issue, or just in life, like I got anxious about being on this recording because I tend to be a very shy person, which I talk about in the chapter as well. That there is a way to actually flip that over and say, what's really there as a question? What could be there as a curiosity? And so in the case of this, it's like, it's a wonder. It's like, I really wonder. I wonder how this will go. I wonder who I'll meet. I already know Justin, but I don't know Joy or Karen. And of course you, Laura, whom I love you and trust you completely. And then there was this, okay, I just wonder, a curiosity, what is going to happen? And living inside of that, what will be said? What will I be able to provide? What will I learn? What can I give to others? And that became a whole series of questions for me. The curiosity, when that was in place, the anxiety was literally completely gone. And that is pretty much what the chapter is about, how to replace with an awareness that anxiety or anxiousness is happening and flip it over to curiosity. And it's like magic. It literally changes everything.
I love this so much. I consider curiosity a ninja mindset move. And we practice things, right? And everyone here has a lifetime's worth of practice. And we've got a great question today that I'm gonna ask all of you about that. But the curiosity thing just turns me on because you're right, it feels magical. And of course you have to remind yourself and get there, right? Tell me more about your process in that.
So, okay, I'm the founder of Zoetic Workshops, and we have a whole curriculum of courses. The 5th level course is a 9-month program. And when we went diving into the pandemic, I had a lot of people saying, please put something out that we can do online. And I like a culling from that 9-month program. There's this whole clump of what are being called bridges to freedom. And these are areas of our lives where we are, I kind of clump it as love. So it's where we're upset or hurt or angry or resigned, or that there's a whole list of ways that we are not literally being love in the time of actually just being in the moment. And then there's this raft of different bridges that we can cross, that once we cross them, once we've practiced it, it's literally like pulling this big fat arrow out of a quiver that you can put your hand on any one of them, and they all work, and they just like that turn where you are into being love, being in the flow as the flow itself. So these are bridges like gratitude, forgiveness, compassion, falling in love with yourself. Curiosity is this one as a birthright. Balance in everyday life, consciously creating your life. Ego as a blessing, grace, things like that. Being able to make a difference in people's lives. Everybody wants to do that. Curiosity is one of them. Everybody was curious when we were little, and some of us maintain curiosity. I know, Laura, you're somebody who maintains it like always, always, always in life. I tend to be the same way. I'm constantly asking rafts of questions, but there's still other places where we go when we're living in our just day-to-day role of our lives, where we slip away from being this incredible, breathing, giving, loving birthright of gorgeousness that all of us are. And in those moments, these are the tools, these bridges that take us back into the freedom of just being who it is that we innately and natively are right away. Curiosity is one of them.
Yes, super powerful one. Thank you, Leora.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm coming around to all of you for this next question. I'm going to start with Dr. Justin Klein, but before I do that, I'm going to show and tell the book number 2, which I just want to give a super shout out to Mandy McMahon. She's on Instagram, you guys, and she does grace the cover of our volume 2 and this 5th volume. So find her on Instagram. I'll have you linked up in the show notes, but just gorgeous artwork. And I found her one day. I'm like, ooh, let's put you on the cover of these holistic books. And that has to do with this question that I want to ask you all. The subtitle of the books is 25 Home Practices and Tools for Peak Holistic Health and Wellness. Justin, why holistic when it comes to healing?
Because your head bone's connected to your neck bone. It's connected to all your bones. Everything's connected. It's simple as that. It's not, for me, people would say, oh, it's chiropractic philosophy. No, it's just human philosophy. The nervous system goes everywhere. Your vascular system goes everywhere. Your lymph system goes everywhere. So the whole system is connected. And that's really why, in so many ways, that I've through my own journey of, if you will, meditation or mindfulness or understanding how my body works, because I'm a very kinesthetic person. So I want people to understand that, for example, if their head is 3 inches forward in front of their head, in front of their body, that might be one of the reasons why your lower back is actually aching, because your head weighs 9, 10, maybe 12, 13 pounds. So
did everyone just sit up a little taller when you said that? Okay.
So it's funny though, if you did sit up straight and you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and you just put your head up tall, you'll feel that in your lower back. It's as simple as that. So it's all connected. And a lot of us stand right throughout the day. So all that weight's on our feet. So the nerves are firing for everything, right? The whole body, it's all the time, it's constant. And so that's really the simplest way for me to say why. There are techniques out there in physical medicine that where they just affect or work on one part of the body. To me, it's just all connected. So I've always worked with spinal adjustments, extremity adjustments, physically therapeutic movement systems and exercises, and manual work. If you do something myofascial work to a shoulder, you're going to affect the hips and the feet through all of that. It's all connected. And so, just through my understanding and education and personal practice, especially given a lot of the movements that we learn in the move mentality. It just made a lot more sense to me to continue working on these types of patterns that increase, improve, and really effectively, sustainably help your head posture, which is housing. I mean, where's your nervous system? It's inside your spine, right? And so the spine itself needs a reflexive, healthy posture. It'll affect everything. It's incredible.
So this is one of the reasons why, oh man, don't get me started on this one, but I'm going to get started anyway. Like, you know, seeing a holistic chiropractor like Justin, and he's in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, by the way, y'all, if you're close by, you can find him here. But it's important to have someone looking after all of you. And that's what part of what Justin is saying is, you know, it's all of you. You don't get a prescription from the doctor that says low back pain, and then you go to the therapist or the whatever, and they treat your low back. I warned you not to get me started on this one, but here I go, right? But that's what you're explaining. And I think people really have to understand the importance of that. Anything else you want to say about it?
Well, I think, I mean, if just for, and one slight example, the muscles that attach to part of the back, attach to the leg muscle, the leg bones, right? Muscles that attach to your upper back and shoulder blades are attached to your arm bones. Muscles that are attached to your shoulder blade also attached to your neck. So these things are all crossing over joints. That's how things work. And so we can't really just think that since the system itself is connected, that we can just, you know, work on where the pain is, because there's also referred pain, radiating pain. And we're not going to go into those details of clinical medicine here, but that's how we understand it. And in order to get just here, one little example, and Leora, I love you starting to tap into that child's brain, right? Because we all are grown children. Okay, all of us, we're, you know, wherever we are. So we at my clinic, we teach people how to crawl and to do all the very, very basic patterns, starting with breathing and then learning how to lift your head. And then we ask them, you know, why do you think we're doing this? And then we have them understand where they're feeling things. And so it all ties together and becomes a much more simple way of thinking, rather than having to say to everybody, oh, the muscle that's attached to your lower back crosses over your hip and then it goes to your knee and then blah, blah, blah. They don't care. They just want to feel good and move their best. And that's really why we do it. So.
No doubt. Thank you for that. Karen, why holistic when it comes to healing?
Oh, you know what? I love therapeutic touch only because the whole premise is on wholeness, and wholeness being, you know, the physical for sure, but also the emotional and energetic and spiritual. And the energy healing in therapeutic touch has been scientifically proven. It's evidence-based to do things such as to help manage pain, to reduce anxiety, to improve sleep, to promote a sense of well-being, and just facilitates the body's ability to heal itself. And that's the basic premise. And I just love it because if you have an intention and you follow through on that intention compassionately, I've seen some amazing things happen.
Yes, I was waiting for you to keep going because I was loving what you were saying. So I answer the holistic question a lot, like Justin talked about in terms of whole body, but then the other piece is the way that you started to talk about it: mind, body, soul, spirit, energetic, the whole, right? Yes. So thank you for that. Leora, what do you want to add to that? Why holistic?
So I wanted to say something that was very much like what you just said, Laura, but it's really that we have many bodies. We think of it as like a body, but it's really their whole bodies. There's physical, there's mental, emotional, spiritual, ethereal, the body of wonder, the body where creativity and discovery comes together, bodies that are beyond words, bodies that are pre-verbal. And they are all interconnected and interdependent. That's the thing. Everything is, as Justin was saying, completely connected. So if you take the example of, let's say, falling in love, it would be pretty easy to say that's the emotional body. And yet, that's emotional. Let's just deal with the 5 basics. And you say that, well, what else is affected? Well, of course, the physical body, it's hubba hubba baby, right? So we've got that affected. Mental is affected when we're in love. No matter how grexy we may feel, it's like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm good, right? And that it's really spiritual, even for people who are atheists. When they fall in love, it's like, yes, there is a God. Spiritual is all part of that. The ethereal taking the imprint of all of this. And it goes like this, that the body of wonder, the body of discovery. I love this concept of crawling. Crawling is very much connects us to that whole preverbal state where we are learning about these midlines vertically and horizontally. And it literally brings us into the feelings that we have that literally are before and after word. And word is really 3-dimensional, but all of this experientially is 4, 5, 9 dimensions. It's something that's way beyond words, become the thing that are the best that we have to say what it is we're experiencing, but the experience itself is something that's way beyond words. So if I said, I love you, and then I said, I love you again, those are 2 entirely different experiences. And if I do it again, I love you, even with the inflection being the same, your experience is different, my experience is different. It's unique each and every time, and it's way beyond the words themselves. So why holistic? Because literally all of this is impacted every single moment, every single moment of every single day, hour, beat in breathing, all of it. And it's not only what's happening here within the individual, it's also what's giving off into the universe. So there in physics, it is so we are causing around us those vibrations because those are the vibrations we are, as we attract those vibrations because as a result of the vibrations that we are. So this becomes something that is not only within, it is also without. It is a universal holistic thing. Why holistic? Because it is.
Well, very well said. And I love the I love you example. Thank you for that. All right, Joy, I know it's hard to come last in this one, but what would you add to this? Why holistic?
I would just add my personal experience that I was raised by a dad who went like this about chiropractic and taught us never to go to chiropractic. Then years later, my car's rear-ended and totaled. And I live with that accident in my frame for years because I don't cross that bridge to chiropractic. And I'm stuck with an accident in my frame. So I am a huge believer in the all heal any way you can, any tool you can. And I have done Pilates once a week for 12 years. And she always says, I am the only person in there that heals on every level. I think my writing is part of that. I don't know, but I'm a believer in the all of it. We need it. We need it to thrive.
Yes. And in the all of it, when you all really explore what our authors are teaching in their chapters, you're going to get these amazing stories, and there's healing in the stories themselves. I've learned so much about all of you from your stories. Thank you. And then you're stepping up to teach the master tool. And in the all of it, Joy, you're just making me think about this. There's so many possibilities. If our viewers take one thing from these interviews, from the book, from the chapters, I would hope it would be the spark of hope that they've been missing for some of you, I know, for years. you felt like nothing could change your situation. But I have a feeling you're going to find a couple things in this book that are going to wake you up to the possibilities. That's pretty badass. So, Karen, I'm going to start with you for this next question. I'm coming around to all of you. What's one way, one of your favorite ways, one of the most important ways you empower your clients?
Well, I think it's basically all about compassion. In this particular situation of sexual assaults, if that's part of the difficulty for them, it's just really believing in them and making sure that they know they're not at fault, they didn't ask for it, they are not to be silenced, and you don't have to pretend about it, and you're not alone. So it's really compassionate listening, and perhaps referring, if necessary, to a different kind of professional for sure. But what I really want them to know is that healing can happen and there is always hope. And one of the ways could be through therapeutic touch.
I love it. Thank you. Compassionate listening. This is so important for so many reasons across the board for anyone who's hurting in any way. I think all of you, that's got to be a piece of what all of you do. So appreciate you all for being those kinds of humans. Leora, what's one way that you empower your client? I know you all empower in like 30 million different ways, by the way. So I'm asking for like the one way that you think is important. Yeah.
There are so many ways, you're right. I think one way that is really important is for my students to really get that they are their own guru, that the guru is within each person. So if I were talking to you, it's you are your own guru. The guru is within you. You're your own master teacher, that we really have, each one of us, the essence of truth within ourselves. We may second guess it, but it's not that it's not there. And so providing the space in which people not only can, but do trust themselves, I think is really critical.
Yes, I love that. I think that's going to be true. You know, it's funny. I had a longer question that prefaced what's one way you empower people, a longer piece to the question, and you just spoke to it. Because when it comes to healing, most, I'll call us authentic healers for now, we understand that we're not here to fix people. We're here to empower people to connect with what helps them keep themselves healthy, right? That it's about helping empower people to connect with their own inner wisdom and healer. So thank you. That's that felt like the beginning of my question.
Yeah, thanks.
Joy, how about you? What's one way you empower people?
One way is to create that container within which I am an amazing listener beneath their words. That's all I have to say.
That's it, huh? You're going to stop there on me. Okay. Well, back to the compassionate listening, right? Karen mentioned it. I think part of awareness, my favorite part of awareness is what you just said. I know that my voice was squelched for so long in my life that when I finally started using it, I couldn't shut up. And then it came back around to, okay, I can quiet down again. And it's just, you know, I've watched my own journey in terms of my voice, in terms of my listening skills, really. But I love that deep listening. So anything else you want to say about that?
Just that in that container, I am so safe And the other thing that this person found me on a podcast and wanted to have a conversation. And she said, I want to say this, but I don't want to put it on you. And I said, dear one, my container is so large. You can say anything to me. You can give me any horrifying thing you want to share. I'm going to be there for you. But when we're finished, I don't have it. It's not a part of me. It is simply, it's in that sacred container. It's there. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And it's big enough to hold it, which is what I think all of us do for people, is hold that space. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, how about you? What's one amazing way that you empower your clients?
I think it also all comes full circle when somebody learns how to listen to themselves and listen to their own body. And in my space, it's about listening to things you see or feel, or for example, pain or tightness or wobbliness, or different feelings that, as I'm trying to listen to their body and have them understand that they're in a safe place. We do things most of the time initially from the ground, so you're farther from falling. Walking is controlled falling, for example, right? Every step you take, you're just a little pendulum just swinging, and things are getting, you're just moving. And if we fear falling, right, for example, and anything in between, or any type of injury, I also try to get people to understand to face it with love. Love your body. Don't fear your body. Love your mind. Don't fear your mind. To appreciate what you're going through, where you are. You're already in pain. So hopefully laying down somewhere, sitting somewhere, and starting from the ground up with breathing and learning how to lead with your eyes, and let your body follow that, and just trust the body's process. And of course, in my case, trust your doctors, and also, make sure that you're practicing at home. If I just teach something that somebody tries once a week, let alone maybe even sometimes once a day. I remember when I had a really bad injury, if I wasn't blessed and lucky enough to have my own clinic and be on the floor with patients for 12 hours a day, sometimes I wouldn't have gotten better as fast as I did. I wouldn't be where I am right now. And so I do feel that being a clinician, or anybody dealing with a patient or a client, having to listen initially, really spending that time, also then teaching them how to listen to what you're listening to in certain ways, what you're seeing. And, so take our diagnostic perspective, so to speak, and instill it in them. And so that's really my ultimate goal with the Move mentality, is teaching everybody that they have one. It's quite simple. And through all the understanding, or the ego, or the
Did we lose him? We were all captivated by that. Oh, there you are. Your last piece cut off. Yeah, you are. Sorry. You are. You're back. You're back.
All right, good. But yeah, I do believe that doing our best to instill healthy and sustainable practice of movement, as simple as that, can also help with everything from our emotional, our physical, our biochemical, every type of stress or system that we really have. And so it's very interesting. I think of some of the things like that Leora and Joy and Karen said today about curiosity and facing things. For example, just facing those things in the first place. It's not easy. A lot of people don't go see the doctor every year, let alone try to heal themselves doing something. And so, of course, in my space, I do also believe that people can absolutely heal themselves in so many ways. Chiropractic or physical therapy adjustments and things are really just giving people the best opportunity to heal. That's the idea. The body heals itself. It's a simple concept. So I think we just need to trust and appreciate our bodies and believe in them, and know that there is science and evidence to, to back a lot of these things, every single thing we've talked about. So yeah, I appreciate the time.
Okay, y'all. So I would like you all to give you all a chance to answer this one last question, but we're going to need to do the speed dating version of it. Okay. So here's a kind of a longer explanation, but I'm looking for a 1-sentence answer in terms of what your practice looks like. So healers learn about something called a healing crisis. And it's when you're on a healing path and you feel distress and pain or discomfort, mental, emotional, physical, but it's related to the healing. It's actually part of what's happening, and what's happening in a good way in terms of your healing. Awareness is the key to understanding this. And I feel lucky to have had a life dedicated to awareness, like what Justin was saying. He's spending hours working on himself while he's on the floor with his patients. He is part of that. He gets to treat himself all day long. Essentially, we all dedicated our lives to that, right? Lucky us. But I want to help people who haven't, so they can benefit too. So the quickest answer you can give me, Leora, how does your daily awareness practice look? What's one thing you practice?
Meditate.
Awesome. Getting still. Do you sit on a pillow for an hour, or do you do 10 minutes, or what? Short answer.
I do anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour and a half, and it is 2 to 3 times a day, every single day.
Cool. So Leora's doing the M. I call it the M word. She's going to say meditation. Okay, Joy, how about you?
Mindful eating.
Good one. Slowing down, smelling it before you bite into it. We did a mindful eating exercise with an apple one time. I loved that exercise. So do you do that with every single meal?
I am, with what I'm putting on the plate, with what I'm what I'm choosing, how I'm eating slowly, how I'm appreciating the flavor of a bite. Like
Nice.
I just really bring a lot of awareness to food these days. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we have meditation, we have mindful eating. Justin, how about you?
I press reset every day.
Yes. How did I know you were going to say that?
You knew that.
That's a really long answer, though, that you can't explain right now.
It is.
So
well, I do just simply breathe. I believe that everybody meditates, and I believe that we are the big M, or the M word, or whatever jargon we may think. If you've ever driven down the highway 20 miles and forgot that you just went 20 miles, you were meditating too. And everybody that drives has pretty much done that. So just put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, follow your eyes, and cross midline, and everything else will fall into place. You'll reset that nervous system.
Karen, how about you?
Oh, I have to do my yoga.
Yes.
That is so healing to me.
Okay. Authors, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everybody. So for all of our viewers and listeners, remember, just pop on down to the notes, the description underneath the video, because all of these amazing experts are hooked up down there with their websites. Take the next step, click on the site, explore, see what they're up to, see what reset even means. You'll find it on Justin's website, I promise. But these authors are very generously there to take you on the next step of your journey. We're not, one of my missions was to not just publish books, but was to create a community, so that after you read this beautiful tool and you start to practice, you can actually connect with the person and take it the next level. So thank you all for being there for everybody, beyond your chapter. And remember to join us for our live stream book celebration on December 17th at 10 a.m. Eastern. I will gather with all of our Ultimate Guide authors, and we'll be doing some fun giveaways that day. You're going to find that on the Brave Healer Productions Facebook page. If you're listening after the 17th, well, get over to Amazon because that means the book is ready for you to grab your copy. And maybe you are a wellness practitioner who's ready to share your brave words in one of our upcoming best-selling book collaborations. Please find more at bravehealer.com. Lastly, everyone, just a little reminder. Your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone. Thank you, authors.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.